Good evening, members, and welcome to all those present, especially to our new members and those returning for another term. I also welcome members of the public and press, and particularly I welcome this evening the High Sheriff and other civic dignitaries, and I'm pleased that my daughter has joined the Mayoress this evening. For those members who stood down at the election or were unsuccessful, on behalf of the Council, I wish you well. Before we begin, I need to go over the usual housekeeping rules. There are no fire drills planned for this evening, so if the fire alarm sounds, please leave the building by the nearest exit and assemble in the Queen's Gardens at the front of the building. Please do not re-enter the building until you are advised to do so. Please also ensure your mobile phones have been switched off or set to silent. I welcome those joining us in the public gallery and would ask that they follow any guidance and instructions given by anyone seated at the top table. This council meeting is being recorded. The recording will be available on the Borough Council's website. I would like to remind members that standards of behaviour for meetings set out in the Council's standing orders apply, and as usual, we have set protocols around speaking during this meeting. No member should speak until invited to do so. If you wish to speak, please could I ask you to raise and keep your hand held high until you have been acknowledged. Please would all members in the room use their microphones whenever they speak, as without them, anyone watching online will not be able to hear you. To use the microphones, please press the button at the front and centre when invited to speak, and wait for a moment for the light on your microphone to come on. Please remember to turn off your microphone once you have finished. Members, in the interests of managing the meeting, please do not approach anyone seated at the top table for advice without first gaining agreement. Should you wish to do so, please raise your hand high. Please could I ask at the end of the meeting to make sure that you take all your belongings and any litter with you. Finally, if any new members have not yet submitted the forms from their introductory pack, please submit them to Democratic Services, which I think is you, Jeff, by the 27th of May. Could I stress that that is very important because it's required for legal and other reasons. So please comply with that. Thank you. We will now commence the business for this evening. Members, the first item on your agenda is apologies. I have received apologies from Councillors Chamberlain and Evans. Do we have any further apologies, please? No? Fine, thank you. The next agenda item is number 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from any members or officers in relation to any items of business contained within this agenda? Fine, thank you. Agenda item 3, members, is to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 31st of March 2026. You will find those minutes on pages 5 to 12 of your main agenda. Can those minutes please be agreed? Thank you. For new members, this is the normal procedure that it's dealt with by assent rather than a vote. Members, the first substantive item of business is to elect a mayor for the coming council year. I am aware of 2 nominations. Councillor Christopher Bailey and Councillor Joan Wheeldon. Can I request that a member please move the nomination for Councillor Bailey?
I would like
Councillor Gullis, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move the motion for Councillor Christopher Bailey to take on the position of Mayor. Councillor Bailey has served his country bravely, having served in the armed forces for many years. He's shown great inspiration with his work and actually across a number of fields. In fact, 60 years old, going on to get his first ever degree through the Open University, which shows learning never stops at the age of 18. He's a lifelong devout resident here of Newcastle-under-Lyme with his beautiful wife, Deborah, who I know joins us in the public gallery today, and we'll be honoured to see him become the mayor of this great borough.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Is that seconded? Councillor Shaw.
Yes, I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. Can I request that a member please move the nomination for Councillor Wheeldon? Councillor Tagg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it'd be a pleasure to move Councillor Joan Wheeldon be the next mayor for the new municipal year. Joan was re-elected in Thistlebury this year with an increased vote, which is a clear recognition of the trust and confidence her residents place in her. And over the past year, she has been supporting you, Mr. Mayor, as your deputy mayor, representing the borough with dedication and enthusiasm at a wide range of civic and community events, assisted by Sue Beeston as her consort. And these have included leading the borough's commemorations of VJ Day on the 80th anniversary event and the Battle of Britain parade at St Giles's Church. And she's been a strong supporter of the local community, attending events such as the Newcastle-under-Lyme Light Festival just recently, the Pride launch at Brampton Museum, and the Heritage Open Days at the Unitarian Church. Joan has taken on ceremonial duties across the borough too, opening new facilities at Madeley White Star Football Club and refurbishing of the cotton mill, as well as supporting schools, charities and other young people activities, and also judging mock trials at the Magistrates Court. Alongside this, she has represented Newcastle-under-Lyme further afield at civic and community events across Staffordshire and beyond, deputising for you, Mr. Mayor, acting as an excellent ambassador for the borough. So I'd just like to thank Joan for the work she's done over the last year. And Joan's commitment to public service and her experience and her clear passion for the community makes her an outstanding choice for mayor. And I'm delighted to propose her for the role, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tagg. Is that seconded? Councillor Holland, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have pleasure in seconding the nomination for Councillor Wheeldon.
Thank you, Councillor Holland. Are there any other nominations? No. I will now ask the Chief Executive to take a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members, this vote will be by show of hands. Firstly, I will ask for all those in favour of Councillor Bailey, then all those against and any abstentions, and then we'll have the same for Councillor Wheeldon. So can I ask all those in favour of Councillor Bailey, please raise your hands up. All those against? Thank you. And abstentions? Thank you. Yep. Okay, thank you very much. And then all those in favour of Councillor Wheeldon? Yep. All those against? Thank you. And abstentions? Thank you. Okay, so it's in favour of Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, members. That I'm advised by the Chief Executive is a clear majority in favour of Councillor Bailey. Members, I'm pleased to announce that Councillor Christopher Bailey is elected as the Mayor of the Borough of Newcastle-under-Lyme for the municipal year 2026-2027.
All rise. Members and officers for the council. Distinguished distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen in the gallery. Please must stand me for the worship of the Mayor of the Borough of Newcastle-under-Lyme, Councillor Christopher Bailey.
Can you please be seated?
Read on from.
So, my first duty as your new Mayor is to affirm my declaration of acceptance of office. I, Christopher Bailey, having been elected to the office of Mayor for the Borough of Newcastle-under-Lyme, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties therefore, according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Borough Council of Newcastle-under-Lyme and in performance of my function in that office. Members, the next item of business on the agenda is to appoint a Deputy Mayor for the forthcoming municipal year. I have been aware of one nomination. Could somebody please move the nomination for Councillor Mark Harris? Councillor Gellis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be proud to propose Councillor Mark Harrison to be your Deputy Mayor.
Is there a second? Councillor Shaw.
I will second that.
Are there any other nominations? As members, Councillor Harrison is the only nominee. I will move for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The vote for Councillor Harrison to be Deputy Mayor. All those in favour, please show. Up as well. Thank you. All those against and abstentions. Thank you very much. Okay.
I therefore declare that Councillor Mark Harrison to be appointed as Deputy Mayor for the next municipal year. I congratulate him and look forward to working with our new Deputy Mayor. I now invite Councillor Harrison to make his declaration of office.
I, Mark Harrison, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor for the Borough of Newcastle-under-Lyme, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you.
Councillor Harrison, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to say thank you for all of the people in the room that have helped so far with the journey to get to this place. And I look forward to doing everything that I can to serve the borough to the best of my ability. Thank you.
I now come to item 6 on the agenda that requires me to announce my appointments for the coming year. The first appointment I wish to announce is that of Mayoress. I, Christopher Bailey, hereby appoint Deborah Bailey to be my Mayoress for the next municipal year. The next appointment I wish to make is that of my High Constable. I, Christopher Bailey, hereby appoint Peter Wallen to be my High Constable for the next municipal year. The next appointment is that of my cadet. I, Christopher Bailey, hereby appoint Cadet Layla Johnson to be my cadet for the next municipal year. My next appointment is that of my chaplain. I, Christopher Bailey, hereby appoint Father Christopher Routledge to be my chaplain for the next municipal year. My next appointment to be made is that of mace bearers. I, Christopher Bailey, appoint Jenny Otter and Glenn Martin James to be my mace bearers for the next municipal year. The final appointment is to confirm the Mayor's Sergeant. I, Christopher Bailey, do hereby confirm Peter Shaw as my Mayor's Sergeant. Item 7 provides me with the opportunity to address you on my hopes and aspirations for my first year. Firstly, I would like to thank the Council for electing me as Mayor of the Borough of Newcastle-under-Lyme. I am very honoured and will commit to carry out my duties to the best of my ability, with a polite and professional manner, as you would expect. The role of Mayor is vital to our borough's heritage, and I promise to do my utmost this year to make the borough proud of our heritage and to put Newcastle-under-Lyme firmly on the map. I have many ideas for charity events that I can hold and to raise money for my chosen charities, which are Tri-Service and Veteran Support Centre and Bradwell Bombers FC. The role of the Mayor is an ambassadorial role, promoting the borough throughout Staffordshire wide and afield, whilst importantly supporting the residents of our loyal and ancient borough by recognising the work they do in many different ways. I now ask Councillor Simon Tagg to propose a vote of thanks for the retiring Mayor and Mayoress.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Maybe the first one to congratulate you in your appointment. May you have a wonderful year as Mayor with your Mayoress and your appointments tonight. It gives me great pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Robert Bentley-Smith, and our mayoress for the last year, Judy, as well. Over the past year, Robert has carried out the role of first citizen of our borough with real energy and commitment, warmth, and representing the borough at over 200 civic and community events, as well as supporting many organisations that bring our communities together across our great borough, whether that be Kids Grove, the rural areas, or in our town centre here as well. And of course, he picked up the reins, sadly, after the death of Barry Panter, who was our former mayor, and Beatrice, his wife, is here today. So you took it on at a time when we were mourning, but you've taken the role now into your year, and your year has been defined not just by service, but by purpose. And I think that's through your chosen charities, supporting young people's mental health and also those living with dementia. And I think you've shone spotlight on those affected families across the borough and raised many thousands of pounds towards those and other important causes. Some of the highlights of the events for me, Mr. Mayor, of Robert Bentley Smith's year was one Mayor Meandering, which was an initiative which Robert has brought forward of journeying around the boundaries of the borough. And it was really interesting that he did the Stoke side of the borough at the time when Stoke was launching their takeover bid, and they voted through Parliament. So, not through Parliament, through their council. It hasn't gone through Parliament yet, through their council. I think the orders to Robert that day were to defend the borders, weren't they, as you went up along the A500, but all around the borders. I'm sure he will tell us how many miles he walked to the bit when he responds. But also he's been supporting, and I know from looking at his Facebook page and seeing the mayoral engagements, supporting Belong in Newcastle very strongly as well. And also attended a range of civic events and receptions and community events. Freedom of the Borough, which of course had here just recently for Ian Dudson, and initiating ceremonies for enrolling of the new boroughs, burgesses of the borough. So I hope that the new mayor will carry that on. It's your initiative that we have a ceremony for the new burgesses when they reach 21 to be invested in this building. So that's really a good initiative you brought forward for the first time this year. We also recognise the important contribution of Judy as mayoress, supporting, organising and accompanying the mayor throughout the year, including playing a key role in the fundraising efforts that you've made, Robert, as well. And together they have made outstanding ambassadors for the Newcastle Borough, whether that's in the borough or whether you've gone further afield and represented the borough across the county and country. I think I've recently gone down to the Royal Garden Party as well, representing the borough. And it's your dedication and compassion for the community that shone through really through your year as mayor. So on behalf of us all, from my group and I think the wider council, Robert and Judy, thank you for your service, your energy and your commitment, and we're truly grateful for your year as mayor. Thank you.
I now call upon the retiring mayor to respond to the vote of thanks.
Mr. Mayor, congratulations. I'm grateful for the opportunity afforded to me this evening to respond to the very generous vote of thanks and provide a summary of my mayoral year. I would like to thank Councillor Simon Tagg for his very kind words. Thank you. The start of my mayoral year was overshadowed by the tragic death of the Mayor, Councillor Barry Panter, whose portrait, painted by Phil Hodges, now hangs in the mayoral parlour. In our borough's 853-year history, there has only been one other occasion, in February 1766, when a mayor has died in office. Following Barry's death, an entry was made using the same form of words as in 1766 in the roll of mayors kept in the mayor's parlour. I was moved to be nominated by both sides of the chamber in May 2025 to be your mayor. Indeed, during my mayoral year, I've enjoyed excellent support from both sides of the chamber, which, in my view, went well beyond the polite and courteous. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, following the elections on the 7th of May, there are several from both sides of the chamber I would have liked to thank personally, and they are not here tonight. My very best wishes to all of them, and my thanks to them for their service, often over many years, and for their support. Turning now to my mayoral year, I would like to thank the Chief Executive, other officers and the mayoral team for their advice and support. It would not be possible for a mayor to operate without Jeff Durham, Civic Support Officer, Peter Shaw, Mayor's Sergeant, Josh Mitchell-Waite, chauffeur and attendant, Jenny Otter and Glenn Martin James, the two mace bearers, and my chaplain, the Reverend Tim Watson. I would like to thank Sam, my youngest son, and my High Constable, who unfortunately cannot be here tonight as he's at a friend's wedding. To preserve civic protocol on the occasion of our annual meeting, and rather than ask the Mayoress to do it, our daughter carried the staff into the chamber on behalf of Sam. Finally, I thank my wife, the Mayoress, for her support, advice, encouragement, and at times, but only when appropriate, in her opinion, discouragement, as we've made our mayoral journey over the last 12 months. Last May at the civic reception, I outlined my aims and aspirations for the mayoral year. I don't propose to go through those as some form of checklist. Suffice to say that my objectives have largely been achieved. In achieving those objectives, or doing my best to achieve them, the year has been quite an adventure in so many ways. I was asked the day after I was elected as your mayor, what is it like being mayor? I was tempted to say, I've no idea. And Christopher, you may find yourself in the same position. But that would not have gone down too well. However, after a few weeks, I did have an answer and described the role as demanding but not onerous, and said we are really enjoying it. But now I can say more than that. Judy and I have enjoyed every visit and every minute of our mayoral year. We've met so many interesting people and been totally amazed at what people are doing, often on a voluntary basis, in our borough and beyond, to improve people's lives and the environment in which we live, whilst making a significant contribution to the common good. No doubt, once I've not been a mayor for a few weeks, people will ask me, what's it like not being mayor? A former High Sheriff recently described to me in a humorous way the situation. He said, and I quote, "You are carefully collected, driven to the meeting, and well looked after. Somebody then takes your clothes and drives off with your car, and you are left to your own devices." So what have the Mayoress and I done to contribute to our borough? At the start of my mayoral year, I set up a Facebook page, Mayor of Newcastle-under-Lyme. Each time we made a visit, I posted pictures on the page together with an account of what we had done. I have made 322 posts. Whilst some were promoting papyrus, this is balanced by some posts that included more than one visit. So, we have undertaken 325 visits over the year. Many of my posts have been shared, and I did in the original script this morning have 369 followers, but I saw that I now have 371. So I picked up another 2 during the course of the day. I had 2 nominated charities, Papyrus and Belong, but I also supported several others personally, including Police Care UK, Entrust Young Musicians, and Chase Recovery. Several of our fundraising events raised money for both the Mayor's Charity Fund and for other charities, such as Dougie Mac and the Friends of Staffordshire's Young Musicians. A specific project for Papyrus, and Papyrus is aimed at the prevention of suicide in the young, which is defined at 35 and under. So a specific project for them, masterminded by the Mayoress, who divided the 65 miles into 10 walks, was walking round the boundary of the borough. We started and finished at the Brampton Museum. I had envisaged the 2 of us walking the boundary with our dog, but that was not to be, as at times we had up to 20 people walking with us. Although a risk assessment had been done by Jeff Durham, he did have a touch of the vapours when I gleefully announced at our weekly meeting that loads of people were walking with us. Fortunately, Jeff was reassured when Judy and I agreed to walk each route before the scheduled walk. So excluding the few times when we got lost, the 65 miles turned into 130. There was great camaraderie on the walks, and sponsorship raised about 4K. And what was very good was that members from both sides of the chamber were walking with us. Highlights included a barbecue at the Swan, Betley, pizza and hot dogs at the Whites, that was the previous mayor and consort, in Market Drayton, and a cream tea with fizz to finish at the Brampton Museum. My main project for Belong involved the refurbishment of the sensory garden. This is an exciting project in partnership with Newcastle College, with the students providing the labour as part of their coursework and the Mayor's Charity Fund providing the materials. This approach was a total win-win for all involved, with the advantage of enabling the money raised to go significantly further. We also avoided a situation where we simply left Belong with a cheque and then the problem of having to engage contractors to carry out the work. Personally, I've really enjoyed working with the college and taking delivery of skips and building materials even at 7:30 in the morning, followed, of course, by breakfast in Belong's excellent cafe. But please don't tell the mayoress, otherwise she'll kill me. Hamptons and Dewsons were major contributors to the project. The mayoress was also directly involved, and we both planted up the new raised flower beds on Monday of this week, ready for the opening. The involvement of the college was suggested by the mayoress and then facilitated by Shelley Brown, the vice principal. For those reasons, I asked them both to reopen the sensory garden yesterday. Mr. Mayor, I am delighted to report that during the year, we, that's the mayoress and I, have raised about £36,000 for my two main charities, Belong and Papyrus, and for others. We could not have done that without an incredible team of dedicated friends, our family and other supporters. There were also the very generous donations from various businesses, which are mentioned on my Facebook page. However, I should particularly mention Joe and Phil Thomas and Kate and Keith Stanworth, that's Stanworth Fun Fairs, for the generosity. We also could not have achieved this incredible result without a significant number of coincidences. In saying that, the support of my chaplain and his prayers may have been instrumental in the coincidences. I am reminded of the words of Archbishop Temple, who famously said, "The Christian life is full of coincidences, but the only thing I have found is that when you stop praying, the coincidences stop happening." Reverend Tim has been a great supporter, and I valued our private prayers before each council meeting. Apart from what we can do in the year, it's important to try and leave something behind. While some people refer to leaving a legacy, I don't like that epithet, lest it become an epitaph. I prefer to use the term avoiding cut flower syndrome. This is best illustrated by the sensory garden. When I selected Belong as one of my charities, I was shown round what had once been an excellent sensory garden, but had declined over the years to the point that it was neither sensory nor a garden. This time round, we will avoid cut flower syndrome, as Newcastle College have agreed their students, as part of their coursework, will maintain and also develop further the garden going forward. Elsewhere, an excellent concert at St Giles by the Entrust Newcastle Young Musicians, intended as a one-off, caused the Reverend Josh Pendock to suggest having a similar event in 2027. In fact, it was during those discussions that I first coined the phrase avoiding cut flower syndrome. With Reverend Josh, as some of you know, and indeed fear, there's a great danger in planting things when he's around. The net result is the inaugural 3-day St Giles Spring Music Festival, which will take place from Friday the 12th of March to Sunday the 14th of March next year. We've avoided cut flower syndrome in other areas, for example, at the Apedale Valley Light Railway, where my mayoral charity day, which raised money for my own chosen charities, will now become an annual event. and benefit you, Mr. Mayor, and mayors in the future to for their fundraising activities. I think we've succeeded in our secondary aim of supporting, promoting and raising the profile of other organisations such as the Apedale Heritage Centre, the Brampton Museum, Entrust, the Friends of Stafford Young Musicians and the Lyme Trust. I believe I leave the morality in a good state and condition, not only externally but also internally. I've tried to improve administrative matters. You can tell I was a senior civil servant. By revising the mayoral handbook in conjunction with the chief executive and enhancing the procedure for the admission of burgesses. I hope these changes, along with the enhanced engagement sheets, I call it a fixture list, will help you, Mr. Mayor, and future mayors. In all this, whilst at times causing an eyebrow or three to be raised, I trust that I did not cause the chief executive or the former of the leader of the council too many sleepless nights. Given the words of Frank Sinatra's song, do, I fear, sum my approach up. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, it's clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've travelled each and every highway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. I wish you, Mr. Mayor, a successful and enjoyable mayoral year. Above all, do it your way while seeking advice from Jeff Durham and our chief executive. And when you're out on campaign as a veteran, advice from the ubiquitous Peter Shaw. Finally, thanks you to each and every one of you in this chamber and beyond who have supported my mayoral year. Mr. Mayor, I'm delighted to remain as a councillor and to be able to support you during your own mayoral year.
Item 9 is a response to the vote of thanks for the retiring mayor and consort. Councillor Beckley Smith, would you like to make your presentations, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one presentation to make in that I wish to present a badge to my High Constable, but he's not here this evening. So I'm going to ask that my daughter collects it on Sam's behalf. This will all be explained in a moment.
Thank you, Councillor Beckley Smith. I now have the pleasure in presenting you and the former Mayoress, Judy Beckley Smith, with your badges.
I've now got a couple of presentations to make to those who've supported me during the civic year. My wife and I had a discussion earlier in the week, which was slightly humorous, because she knew that I was going to talk about cut flower syndrome and avoiding it. So the concept of then presenting people with bunches of flowers would undermine the entire thing. So that is why I'm going to be giving people a plant which will avoid cut flower syndrome. The monitoring officer approves. Good, thank you. These are in no particular order. Yeah. Sorry, they came in different sizes. Let's just sort of sort it out. Peter Shaw. Yeah, Jenny Otter, one of the mace bearers. Jeff Durham. Right, Glenn Martin James. And finally, Josh has done so much for us over the course of the year. It's absolutely incredible the service that Josh has given my wife and myself as our chauffeur, as our attendant, going well above what can be reasonably expected.
Members, we move to on the agenda to item 10, the appointment of the leader of the council for 2026 to 2030. I have one nomination, Councillor Jonathan Gullis. Can I request a member please move the nomination for Councillor Gullis?
I'm happy to propose Councillor Gullis.
Is it? Yeah. Is there a seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second Councillor Gullis.
Are there any other nominations? As there are no other nominations, I will move to a vote. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? That's carried. Councillor Gullis, do you wish to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I promise a few words it will be, obviously bearing in mind we want to celebrate your appointment to the Mayor. May I also join those of Councillor Tagg to congratulate you on that. May I also thank my Councillor Tagg, because at the end of the day, he's provided many years of service, both here at Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough Council, but also at Staffordshire County Council. And no one in this chamber, nor anyone, I think, across Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough can doubt his passion and his commitment to the local area. I've known him, obviously, for a number of years. We were once on the same team, now on the opposite side. However, I will say that I do hold him in the highest of regards and utmost respect. I know he will be a formidable leader of the opposition. I look forward to working with him and Councillor Jones on issues such as Wally's Quarry, but also sparring at occasion in the chamber too, which I'm sure that he and I both will be ready for in the coming months and years ahead. But I'd also like to thank the voters of Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough for putting their trust in us as a Reform UK group. I'd like to thank my colleagues here in Reform UK for putting their trust in me to be their group leader and therefore have the opportunity to lead this royal and ancient borough. We are fully aware of the responsibility that's been thrust upon our shoulders by the people. We will work tirelessly to make sure that where Reform UK governs, it delivers in order to build trust with those voters coming ahead of a future general election where we hope to see Nigel Farage in 10 Downing Street and leading this country. And we will work across this chamber on issues that matter to the people, because it is the people that we are here to serve. And I thank everyone for their vote of confidence this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Members, we move to agenda item 11, where the Leader of the Council will now appoint his Deputy Leader and Cabinet with portfolios. Councillor Gullis.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. May I first announce that as Leader, I'll also be taking the Cabinet portfolio for planning and town centres. My Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Finance will be Councillor Graham Shaw. My Cabinet Member for Housing and Public Protection will be Councillor Vanessa Renshaw. Cabinet Member for Waste, Recycling and Green Spaces will be Councillor Ben Simpson. The Cabinet Member for Legal, Governance and Organisational Performance will be Councillor Martin Rogerson. And the Cabinet Member for Resident Services and Neighbourhoods will be Councillor Andrew Fisher.
Members, we now turn to the next item of business on this evening's agenda, which is the election results. A copy of the report can be found on pages 13 to 18 of your agenda. Councillor Gullis, will you please now introduce the report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do indeed, with pleasure, introduce the report regarding the election results of the 7th of May 2026. As has been previously said by other councillors, we are fully aware that politics comes with the victories and the highs, but also comes with the lows. There are many councillors who lost their position, not through necessarily fault of their own, but that of the damage of political party brands that they represent. And we are fully aware that there are some of those in this chamber this evening. And I would like to add on to those comments made earlier, my thanks for their dedication and service over many, many years and in many, many different roles. In particular, I would like to make it clear that we will look forward to introducing as future aldermen of this borough, Jill Burnett-Faulkner, Paul Northcott, Paul Waring, Mike Stubbs, Stephen Sweeney, Ian Wilkes, Jill Williams and John Williams, all of whom have met the relevant criteria and rightly deserve. And I hope that councillors quickly join me in a round of applause for those who may be watching this evening. I know, Mr. Mayor, that the criteria is quite strict. I do think that someone who was just shy of a year is Councillor Sylvia Diamond, someone I know well, as who actually was my local councillor where I live in the Tork and Butt Lane wards. And I do hope to work with officers to make sure that she would be somehow find a way to be eligible, because I think that her service, particularly in remembering Reginald Mitchell, who obviously helped us fight the Nazis and keep our proud country safe, should be rightly recognised for her service. And I'm glad that she's in the chamber today to hear us speak. The election results were truly historic for Reform UK. To go from one councillor to 27 is an extraordinary result. We, as I say earlier, understand the responsibility that's shouldered upon us, and I want to personally thank the residents of Kidsgrove and Ravenscliffe ward, who I was proud to serve in my former guise as their Member of Parliament, and now have the honour to be one of their local ward councillors, along with my colleagues, Councillor Clark and Councillor Wozni, who I know will be excellent. So they're making me feel rather ancient with their youthful under-30ness that I'm now having to suffer. Once I used to be a spring chicken in local government, now it seems that I'm an old hat that maybe one day will have to be put out to pasture at some point. Maybe Councillor Tagg will find a revenge and maybe see that happen in the future. But what I will say is that we have an amazing team here of amazing experience. I do believe the quality of the councillors elected for representing Reform UK is something quite extraordinary, and I'm honoured to work with my colleagues. It is important that we understand in Reform UK that we are a team and that no one is bigger than that particular team. And I look forward to working with everyone and using their experience and expertise to help drive an agenda forward. We are going to focus on the bread and butter issues that matter to people. We're going to tackle the scourge of antisocial behaviour that plagues town centres, whether that be through e-scooters, whether that be through public drinking, whether that be through aggressive begging. These people have no place, and we will use every legal power at our disposal to take action against them. We will also deal with off-road bikes that I know plague communities such as Audley, Newchapel and Malcop and others that endanger many of our residents. We will make sure the local plan gets to a place where we can protect our green and beautiful fields, but also build the homes for the future so that local people can afford to buy in their local community, that families don't have to break up and separate out of our ancient borough, so that we can enjoy many more generations of families to come. And we will obviously also be focusing on making sure that we get focus on our beautiful green spaces, our parks. These are wonderful places, but too many of them have got equipment that are rusty and old and out of date. We want to see new play equipment, and I know that I've bored many in this room by talking about the pump track at Newchapel Rec, but a huge success it was, and we look forward to delivering that project in Bradwell that's been funded with Section 106 funding, and I look forward to working with my colleagues, Councillor Tiff, Jellyman and Simpson, and making sure that's opened as soon as possible so young people can enjoy it. Parks should be a safe space for people to go regularly with their loved ones. We have many successful park runs, such as Cloughall Park for Kidsgrove area, and we want to see that flourish throughout our borough. These are the things that this council is control of. These are the things that this council wants to focus and will focus on delivering. And we plan to be bold and radical, because I have said it on many interviews before. I want this to be a flagship Reform UK-led council that builds trust with the voters, that demonstrates that where we govern, we lead with due diligence, with hard work and with passion, and most importantly, that we deliver change that people can literally feel and see within their communities, so that trust can be once be restored again in our great politics. And I look forward to obviously hearing other members' contributions this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Councillor Shaw, would you like to second the recommendations?
I'll second that, yes.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. Members, we will now move to the debate. Would any members wishing to speak please raise their hands? Councillor Targer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'd like to thank the new leader of the council, congratulate him on his appointment, and also thank him for his kind words that he said earlier. I think where there will be policy differences between, I think, the opposition and the new administration, but where they do the right thing, we will support them, and where they take our borough forward, we support them, but we'll hold them to account if we see any failure. I think the point of this item really is to reflect on the election results, and I congratulate every elected member who won a seat on May the 7th. I'd like to pay tribute to those retiring members, and that's the way of politics, isn't it? You get retired off by the electorate in a lot of ways. When you feel, despite your best efforts of fighting your seats, you still lose them. And that's the political cycle, which I think the leader, Councillor Gullis, mentioned earlier as well. And this time, I think more than usual, have we been victims of a political cycle. Long-serving members are no longer with us, particularly from my group. I'd like to pay tribute to Councillor Stephen Sweeney, who was a councillor since 2006, a former leader of this council, and also the outgoing deputy leader. Also Councillor Wilkes, Ian Wilkes, who's a former mayor of the borough and a long-term councillor, and also Councillor Johnson, Trevor Johnson, who's actually in the public gallery there. Welcome, Treasure. You're a treasure, Trevor. And a former cabinet member of this council and other positions as well. And also community champion sorters from my group, Lillian Barker, Amanda Beresford, Nick Crisp, and also Jill Burnett-Faulkner from Kidsgrove, already been mentioned already, and also Simon Jones, and also Jill and Paul Waring, obviously the husband and wife team from Newchapel, who were successful many years over there, who retired, and Amy Bryant, and also Rupert Adcock as well from Silverdale. Those who announced their retirement before the election and didn't stand. I think we should also acknowledge we're welcoming back Councillor Fear, who's now the longest serving member on this council. Do you want me to tell them what year it was, Andy? 1998. last century. And of course, we also welcome back to my group here Councillor Jeremy Lefroy, back to where he started his political career all those years ago. He left here to become MP of Stafford, and now he's come back to us to represent, obviously, Mayor and Whitmore. And also, I'd like to welcome the new members to my group, particularly Graham Sedgley and also Finn Swain for Maybank as well. So for all members of groups, I think you'll enjoy your time on the council. I look forward to working with you, and let's hope we get more than 2 years and that the government do away with this local government reorganisation and allow this council to get on doing what it does best, working locally for its communities and delivering for its communities. We have done over many years under many political controls, and I can't see that that should be any different now. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any other members who would like to speak? Councillor Gullis, would you like to sum up, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to just quickly put on record my thanks to Councillor Tagg for his kind words to all members across the chamber, and share with him in passing on the thanks of service to those who were unfortunate in not seeking re-election, but also for those who retired leading up to that election. Putting yourself forward in public office is not an easy decision. It's a very brave one indeed. And as I say, sometimes the tide comes in and the tide comes out, and even more so than ever before are we seeing those changes and turmoil in our politics. And we obviously look forward to now working with all councillors across all political parties to deliver first and foremost for the people of Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. The recommendations have been moved and seconded, so can we now move to the vote on this? All those in favour, please raise your hands. That's unanimous. Thank you. Members now turn to the next item of business on this evening's agenda, which is for the calendar of meetings for 26 to 2030. A copy of the report can be found on pages 19 to 47 of your agenda. Councillor Gullis, would you please now introduce the report?
Happy to introduce the report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Councillor Shaw, would you like to second the recommendations?
Yes, I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. Members will now move to debate. Would any members wishing to speak please raise their hands? Councillor Gullis, would you like to sum up, please?
I think we've summed up enough.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. The recommendations have been moved and seconded, so we'll now move to a vote on this. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That's unanimous. Members, the next item on the agenda is to appoint the members, chairs and vice chairs of the committee. The report can be found on pages 49 to 57 of your agenda. Appointments to the committees. Please can the nominations to the committees be agreed? Appointments of chair and vice chair. Members.
Start again at appointments from chairs and vice chairs.
Appointments of chairs and vice chairs. Members, I propose to take the appointments of chairs and vice chairs en bloc. All those in favour of the reform nominees being appointed. All those against? And abstentions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was 27 for reform, 3 against, and 14 abstentions. My apologies, 25 for. I'll do my maths properly next time.
Those in favour of the Conservative nominations being appointed? All those against? Any abstentions?
So the result of that was 15 for, 24 against, and 2 abstentions.
All those in favour of the Labour nominees being appointed? All those against? Any abstentions?
Thank you. That was 2 for, 32 against, and 7 abstentions.
Members, the chair and vice chair appointments will be taken by the reform members as listed in your agenda. Members, the next item on the agenda is to appoint members of the external organisations as representatives of the council from 2026 to 2030. The report can be found on pages 59 to 74 of your agenda. Members, I propose to take the appointments en bloc where a vote is required. All those in favour of the Reform UK nominees being appointed? All those against? Any abstentions?
Thank you. That's 25 for, 1 against, and 16 abstentions.
In favour of the Conservative nominees being appointed? All those against? Any abstentions?
That's 15 for, 27 against and 2 abstentions. Sorry, 25. I'll get this right by then.
All those in favour of the Labour nominees being appointed? Members, the appointments will be taken by the Reform UK members as listed in your agenda. The motion is carried, and therefore the list as attached to your agenda is confirmed. Members, we now turn to the next item of business on this evening's agenda for the confirmation of the Council's Constitution. A copy of the report can be found on pages 77 to 139 of your supplementary agenda. Councillor Gullis, will you please now introduce the report?
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to introduce the report.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Councillor Rogerson, would you like to second the recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I would.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Rogerson. Members, we will now move to the debate. Would any members wishing to speak raise their hand? Councillor Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and welcome to your place as Mayor. This item follows a programme of work that was undertaken at the tail end of the last administration. I'm very happy to say I'll be supporting the report that's on the agenda tonight. For the benefit of members who haven't yet had the pleasure of speaking to me about constitutional matters, I can assure you I have read all of the items that are in front of us. The appendices relate solely to changes to the Constitution as it stands. They all relate to procurement procedures, and our monitoring officer and other officers have done a phenomenal job of work to update that part of our Constitution following the coming into force of the Procurement Act 2023. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Wheeldon.
Hi, I haven't had time to read all of it, read most of it. When we were doing this as a committee group, one of the things that I asked the monitoring officer was it's always important when you're putting a report like this through, where changes are being made, is to look at the dates for implementation. So I'm just seeking assurance that there are dates scheduled rather than just the report being presented to this council.
Comments of Councillor Wheeldon are noted and they'll be taken forward. Thank you.
Councillor Gullis, would you like to sum up, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, we are, of course, aware of statutory obligations, which we obviously have to therefore make relevant changes to our constitution. We will, however, be bringing forward constitutional changes that I wrote up in advance of the election at the next full council meeting, which will be quite widespread, and we look forward to hearing feedback in the council chamber. But to be clear, we will not be partaking in any cross-party working group. We will present the changes and vote them before council.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. The recommendations have been moved and seconded. So we would now like to move to the vote on this. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous.
Yeah.
Members, agenda items 17 and 18 related to urgent business and confidential business. This is one of the item of urgent business to seek to appoint an interim monitoring officer and service director for legal and government governance. Councillor Goodish, would you like to introduce the report, please?
I'm very happy to introduce the report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Councillor Rogerson, would you like to second the recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I will second the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. Members, we may now move to debate this item. Can I ask for your indication by raising a hand if you wish to speak?
Simon Tack.
Councillor Simon Tack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, support this paper, and I think just for members' awareness, particularly new ones, Barbara Beardmore has spent an interim spell as Beardwell, has spent an interim spell as monitoring officer at this council before. I'd like to put on record from the Conservative Group thanks to the existing monitoring officer who will be leaving us soon, and wish him all the best for the future. Thank you.
Councillor Gullis, would you like to sum up, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I would like to just add my thanks as well to the current monitoring officer for the very kind time he's given to myself and my group in the short period. We're sad to see that he'll be departing, but wish him the very best of luck in his new role.
Thank you, Councillor Gullis. The recommendations have been moved and seconded, so we'll now move to the vote on this. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous. I would like to thank our outgoing monitoring officer and service director for legal and governance, Anthony Harold, sat here besides me, and wish him all the best for his new role. That therefore concludes the business for this meeting, and I declare the meeting closed. For those who have responded to my secretary for the civic reception at Keel Hall, I look forward to chatting with you there. Thank you. For everyone else, I wish you a safe journey home and hope that everybody enjoys the rest of their evening. Thank you.